Thousand Island Park is on the border of Canada and USA, where the River Lawrence passes by. And there are 1,700 little lovely scenic islands. And the second largest island is meant for people to stay. And there's a little village there. And one of Swami Vivekananda's female disciples, they're all mostly female. It's female who carry the message of spirituality. She had a cottage there. She said, would you like to come and spend some time with us, Swami, as a vacation? He said, yes, I'd like to spend some time. She said, can we invite some other devout people to come and spend some time with us? We won't be, we won't have any kind of interference from the outside world. He said, sure, do. So 12 disciples with Swami Vivekananda went to Thousand Island Park and spent 7 weeks, glorious 7 weeks. Because here, this is Swami, he was not under pressure to perform from a platform, to pass out a message of spirituality for the whole of humanity. He was in his element. The lovely skies, the lovely scenery. He would go out and meditate under the tree. He felt he's back in the Himalayas. He could enjoy and have a very personal relationship with each and every disciple and talk with them at individual level. So he really flourished here. He was in his element here. So the kind of words of wisdom that poured out during his stay at Thousand Island Park are some of the best things you can find about Swami Vivekananda. And Miss Waldo, again, the same lady who helped dictate, write the Raj Yoga, was there as well. So she made notes of all these kind of conversations. And what used to happen is this. Look, this is reality. Yeah? She left these notes of all these these are called inspired talks in a booklet. And then that booklet was left at Thousand Island Park. This was done in 1894. The booklet was left there. Scribbles were left there. And the story moved on. In 1947, the Ramakrishna Order in New York had enough money to try and buy out the cottage. So they bought out the cottage. And while they were renovating it, this book appeared. It had been lost. And they threw it in the tip. The electrician saw this book looks interesting. I've heard about this Vivekananda who came in 1893. So he picked it up. He looked, yes, looks interesting stuff here. And he sat on it himself, thinking this is good stuff. He didn't realize the importance of that book. Only after 7 or 8 years, he thought, let me pass this book to the Ramakrishna Order saying, I've discovered this book. And they said, why? You got this stuff here? These are the sayings of a master in full flow. You got that. And this is how it was preserved. Almost through accident, rediscovered. And this is where we find the glorious ideas of Hinduism presented in very simple language, very dramatic language, very inspiring. That's why they're called inspired talks. Let me touch on some of the ideas Swami Vivekananda touched on during his stay in Thousand Island Park. This shows the versatility of this man. You see, the Christian disciples he had have been brought up on the mode of thinking of dualism. Dualism means I and God are separate. We can never be the same. God is something special and we of a different category, and we are much lower beings of a different category. And there is no real link. We are completely alien from each other. This is called dualism in the Hindu philosophy. And there are many Hindus who like to think in the same manner, that I and God can never be the same. We are far apart from each other. This is the standard way most Hindus will relate to the idea of religion and God. God is that super being and I am just nobody sitting at his feet and saying, oh Lord, I'm your servant. This is how the Christians are brought up, the same idea. God is the master or the father. Vivekananda had to gently, move them, shift them from that stance to the stance of the height of Hindu philosophy called the Advaita. Actually, you and your Lord cannot be separate. You are the chip of the same old block. This is what you have to bring out. It's not easy. It sounds like blasphemy. Equating you to God, this is blasphemy. You can't do that. Oh, this is terrible. So he had to gently move them. So he started with the idea of Advaita, and then he started talking about Vishishta Advaita. Now, Vishishta Advaita is a very interesting kind of a juncture where the Advaita and the Advaita meet up. Let me tell you what Advaita is. Advaita says really, if God is one category and we all are separate category, then what is the relationship? And where do this God category and all of us individual category, where do they sit? What is the field of their operation? How are they related? You need some greater science to relate this God with man. There has always been, if you like, an abstract idea. It's difficult to kind of find a real relationship because the relationship will always be arbitrary. How do you relate? It's always stayed like that. And the devotees said, don't discuss, we don't like philosophizing, we just believe in God, don't stop bothering us. So they keep away from this question. But as philosophic, the question arises, in which realm do the both of them exist, God and humanity? What's the realm and what is the relationship? And the only way you can get around it is this high philosophy, the height of Hindu philosophy called Advaita. Advaita says, really the same, one appearing as many. The same thing that you call God becomes visible as the creation and becomes more clearly visible as living thing, and because the clearest vision of God or spirit is humanity. It is God alone who has taken all these forms, including the material thing that you see in front of you is nothing but God, manifesting or appearing as many. The word appearance is a very tricky philosophic term that we introduce here. This is the whole heart of Advaita. This is the height of Hindu philosophy. So now Vivekananda had to gently prod them from the Advaita tradition into the Advaita tradition. And he managed to do that very slowly by using Vishishtadvaita. Now Vishishtadvaita is kind of halfway house, saying that, look, you can't say you are God. Do you feel like God? So don't make these bombastic claims. At best you can say God is like a fire and you are like a spark. But again, you see, they're using the language of Advaita, except it's called qualified Advaita or qualified monism. In the sense that you are similar to God, but not just quite as good as God. You are this kind of little tiddler, and God is the giant fire, and you're a little spark. And here, the Christians found this idea acceptable and kind of tolerable.